Welcome, everyone, to the MCP Project podcast. Today, we have such an incredible guest. We're so honored to have Keaton Hoskins on. Most people might know him from the Diesel Bros or Brothers. I say bros, but I actually know him from Limitless Society, which is an amazing community that I'm so very grateful to be a part of. Keaton, thank you so much for being here and just sharing a little bit of your story and who you are, and the hope to give people hope and inspiration on how you came from where you started to where you are now and everything in between. So I thought it might
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here.
Oh gosh, me too. I'm sorry if I'm a little nervous. This is just exciting.
Don't be nervous.
I'm trying not to. But so I think it's hilarious. You came from Diesel Brothers, and I don't know if you had made the comment or where I saw it, but you were actually on TV, like running around in your underwear. You used to be a little wild, man.
We used to do some stupid stuff. They used to just make us look really stupid on TV, and anything they could do to make us look like a fool, they would. So that's what we did for years.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I am so curious how you got started in that.
We in 2012 we launched a company. We were kind of the godfathers for the giveaway model, which you see all the time now, right?
Yeah.
And in 2012 we launched a company called Diesel Sellers, and it was an online diesel classified site where diesel truck enthusiasts could connect and sell their trucks on a classified site, which was really awesome because diesel trucks kind of range a lot from state to state. So you could save a lot of money.
Wow.
And we started a Facebook page that blew up overnight. We had about, 200,000 followers within the first month of us launching.
Oh my
Yeah, it was crazy. And so what we did is we started to tell other companies that social media was going to be the route for marketing, and nobody believed us. Everybody's like, no, that's not a thing. It's just a fad,
Yeah.
And so we decided that we would show people. And so we ended up launching a clothing apparel line. And for every dollar that you spent on our clothing, you got one entry in to win a truck that we had essentially built.
Oh my gosh.
And the first truck that we built, it cost us about $70,000 to build it. And we didn't realize when we did the giveaway model, to make it legal, you had to give it away for free. So on our website, it was you could buy from us, and every dollar you spent gave you one entry, or you could write a letter, and every letter you sent us, you would get one entry.
Oh my gosh.
So we launched the company, and we thought, man, this could be really bad. We could be in a place where we pay $70,000 for a truck and just get a ton of mail-in entries. Because of our social media, because we had so many followers, we started marketing it on our social media. And our first truck giveaway, we ended up doing about $700,000 in apparel sales. Yeah, we had like 4 shirts and a rubber band that said Diesel Power Gear on it.
Oh my
and it
gosh.
ended up just being incredible for us. It was so awesome.
What?
And we started to do giveaways about every 90 days. And we started to gain a really big following. We actually had a big following before the show ever started. I think I had like 250,000 followers on Facebook before the show ever even started.
Oh my
So then the Discovery Channel came to us and they said, hey, we want to do a show with you guys. And we turned them down for about a year. We were like, nah, we like what we're doing. We don't really want to do that, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And then finally, after a year, they said, hey, can we just come out and film for a week? And so we did some really crazy shit with them. And they ultimately went back to the Discovery Channel, and they're like, we love these guys. We want to do this with them. So it was cool. We did our first episode. And because we had so many followers, we were able to market to our followers pretty well.
Yeah.
And our first episode, we ended up setting a record for the most watched premiere show for a reality show on Discovery Channel.
Oh my gosh, Keaton, that's insane. Oh my
Yeah, it was really, really cool. So from 2014 till about 2021, we had one of the biggest reality shows on TV. And in 2021, we were like, we're done. We don't want to do this anymore. So we just kind of walked away.
Oh my God, I love it. That's so funny.
Yeah.
That is really cool. So how did you meet your buddies? Like, did you guys meet in high school?
And Diesel Dave and I actually went to junior high together.
Oh
So
my
we were
God.
friends all the way up from junior high to high school, and then I ended up meeting Diesel Dave and Heavy D about when I was 21, and
Okay.
we were all truck builders. We just like to build cool trucks. So when the show started and when the company started, it just kind of was a fit for all of us.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. So you
Yeah.
guys in 2021 you were pretty much just kind of done with it, and then what prompted you, cuz I just love everything you do, and I don't say that to be so nice. I mean, I throw myself in to people that are just really grounded and really know who they are. And I know it takes a long time, and even still we're learning so much about ourselves. But you left with what you do now, it's just really incredible for me to see how you're helping so many people with cash flowing businesses, and how you pour into people, and the advice you give for free online, the advice you give in the Limitless Society. Every time Josh and I get off the call with you, we are fired up, and you hit deep and you don't hold back. And I really love that about you. You're hardcore, and your buddy, who's one of my all-time faves too, Andy Frisilla. I love the hard, like, we're going after it. This is what you do. There's no easy way. It's just what it is. And just giving the hard truth, but that passion that burns inside of you guys to share, it just, I don't know, it's just very igniting, and I just love it. So I wanted to ask, when you were leaving Diesel Bros and starting, how did you get your start into Limitless Society? How did everything kind of evolve for you after the show?
Yeah, so I started as an entrepreneur as young as I can remember, 17, 18, starting businesses. And when I was 21, I had started a business and a few other businesses. And Diesel Brothers or Diesel Sellers was just another company that I wanted to help
Oh,
build and be a part of.
okay.
And then throughout that whole time, even during the show, I had multiple businesses that I had started.
Okay.
And since then, I mean, as of now, probably 40 different businesses that I've either acquired or started. And
Wow.
about 2.5 years ago, because Limitless, I think, is about 2.5 years old, instead of starting another company, I spent some time with my good friend Rob Bailey. And he was like, dude, you really got to start coaching because you can teach people what you've done, you know? And it kind of stuck with me. I spent some time with my wife, and she was like, I think this is it. Like, this is a great route for you to start mentoring and helping and coaching people. And for me, it was, instead of just starting a new company, why don't I start building people?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how Limitless Society started. I just wanted to help people. I wanted to teach them the principles, the mindsets, the habits that I had acquired to become as successful as I was. And so, 2 years ago, I literally labeled out, like, I want to help people. That's what I want to do. And so I came up with Limitless Society, and I put it out, and I just said, I want to help people become better versions of themselves. That's all I want to do. And that means richer, better husbands, better fathers, better wives, better, all across the board. And it was this all encompassing idea that if you want to get to where you want to go, you have to work on yourself. You
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
if you work on yourself more than you work on anything else, you'll become the person that you want to become, and you'll have the things that you ultimately have as a goal one day.
Yeah.
And it's
Absolutely.
this whole idea that Jim Rohn says, if you'll work twice as hard on yourself as you do on anything else, you'll have the life that you want. That's really the truth.
Yeah.
So that's all kind of encompassed in what I taught in Limitless. And then about a year ago, I realized that I had a knack for buying businesses for very little money. And I thought, I want to share with the world that you can acquire a cash flowing business for very little money down. You can use the cash flow of the business to finance the business, and you can be off to the races. And within 30 days, you can change your financial position. And it's been really, really cool. I've seen a lot of people essentially buy a business and change their financial position, change their generational wealth.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of really where I'm focused and leaning into, is building better versions of people, helping them understand entrepreneurship is a great way. And once
Yeah.
you become a great version of yourself, you can build anything you want.
Yeah, I love it. Even that just gets me like fired up because it's so true. And isn't it so fun when you figure out a system that works, that the cash flowing system that you're teaching people. And it's just like this puzzle, and you get to uncover all these neat ways of making money and changing lives for people, and just being able to share that and show people really how simple it is. It's just having the right person show you how to do it, which is what you do. And I think it is so cool. I actually read on your story the other day of a person who is a 9 to 5er who had, I think it was 4,000, they would make like 3,000 or 4,000 a month. And then they doubled it already in like the first month. And you're like, I'm going to get him to 20,000. And I'm just like, yes, let's go. That is so awesome.
It's been really rewarding. It's fun to see people. It's not hard, to buy a cash flowing business and to keep it cash flowing. It's not hard to scale it. It's not hard to sell it. But the truth is that everybody is just a little bit of information away from the success that they want. And when you understand that, then you should spend a lot of time and money acquiring as much information as you can, because there will be a part in your life where it's just a little bit of information that tweaks everything for you. That's what I do, it's not really a secret. It's just something people don't know. Mm-hmm. And so when they say, hey, I want to learn from you, and you give them this simple information and they go out in the world and they do it, they start making more money, and that's the coolest thing is, you talk about people changing their financial position, changing their life. It's only a little bit of information away from them doing that. Why wouldn't you pay for that information?
I know. I look at you, Keaton, when we're standing in your house and you're sharing all your knowledge, and you shared with us that you had this vision of being in your home, teaching all of these people. And I have to tell you this story because it's so funny. I sold new homes. So I'd sit in the model home and I sold brand new homes for people. And I didn't know I was going to be very successful at it. It was the first time I had left a salary based to 100% commission, but I love people. So I was like, well, I'll give it a whirl. And I ended up doing very well, which I'm super grateful for. But at the end of the like when it was snowing out or people wouldn't come into the model homes, I would get up and I would stand in the lobby and I'd just practice speaking, and I would be speaking to people. And it's so funny because I visualized, I always wanted to help people. And I knew that my hardships were the greatest way to help people, not to be ashamed of them, but to share them so you could give hope. And the vision that you shared is, I was like, it's, how could you not believe in God when He puts that in you and you then are living it? And I love the story you share about the hourglass. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that? I think it's a great takeaway.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
I have the hourglass on my desk. I look at it every single day. One of the greatest things that we as human beings can do is find true perspective. And when we find true perspective, it breeds discipline. All of us are just a little bit of discipline away from the goals that we want to accomplish, whether that's a diet, whether that's making more money, whether that's being a better parent, whatever it is. It's just small disciplines away from getting there. And when we work on perspective and we realize that, like, this time's running out, and it's not what we think it is. The reality is that most of us are going to die sooner than we think, and we only have so much time that we're given. And when I look at things like that, it puts me into the right perspective. The great Stoics teach a principle that a man and a woman should be contemplating death on a regular basis. And when they do that, they realize there's only so much time left. Like, I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. So I should put everything into today, and I should focus on the time that I'm given today to be grateful, to be present, and to be disciplined in the actions that I take every single day, because our success is not 6 months away. Mm-hmm. Our success is what we do on a daily basis in the next 6 months. Yes. And when I focus on the time that I'm given, it really does put me into the correct perspective to allow me to become disciplined where I lack discipline. A really good example, I've got a daughter right now that's sick. She's sick with something. And she's just been whining and whining and whining. And it's really easy as a parent when your children whine a lot to get really frustrated,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
It's easy to
absolutely.
get mad at them. It's easy to put them in their room. It's easy to do those things. But if I stop in that moment and I think, I don't know how long I'll be here. I don't know how long she'll be here. And truthfully, even if I don't die and she doesn't die, how long will she be 2 years old?
I
you know,
know.
and how long will I have her as a child? And in those instances when I get frustrated, like I did last night, the child comes up into the room at 3 a.m. crying, and I'm like, I got to get my sleep, and I'm frustrated that they're
Yeah.
here. The first thought process is, you're not always going to have this. This will not always be a moment in your life. Like one day you're going to be a grandparent, one day you're going to be old, your kids will be out of the house, and you'll be wishing for this time back where a sick child came into your room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that perspective, what it does is it shifts me into being a better father. It shifts me into being disciplined. And instead of saying, why are you here? Go back to bed and being a jackass,
Yeah.
it allows me to stop in that moment and say, no, you won't always have this. And this could be your last time. So you need to do everything you can to be the best father right now. And it allows me, again, in that shift to do the things I need to do to be that father, to be
Yeah.
that husband, to be that leader.
I
And again, for me, knowing that time is running out, I'm continually looking in gratitude for the time that I do have, the time that I am allotted. And when human beings can really encompass the idea that they don't have very much time, they just do better. That's
yeah.
why it's really sad to see people often when they go to the doctor and that they find out they have a terminal illness, that they all of a sudden they get better. What they say, what they do, their whole life shifts because they've been given 6 months left to live.
I
And it's
know.
merely because they didn't know that before they went into the doctor. So they weren't the person that they are today. Why does it take that experience for us to shift? It
I
shouldn't.
know. I
We should
agree.
focus really wholeheartedly on the fact that every day is a gift and we don't know how many we have. We don't know how many our spouse has. We don't know how many our children have. We don't know how many our friends have. So I would never take for granted that time. And I would make sure that every opportunity I had to put in to that relationship, to put into the disciplines of being that person, I would take because I don't know how much time I have left.
I love that so much. It's so true. Every morning when we get up, I'm usually up at like 4:30 or 5 a.m. But so when it's just my quiet time, my time to just really sink in with the word and just have that time to really be grateful that I had this morning to wake up. And when Josh gets up, I just ask him, hey, can we say a prayer and just really thank God for today and to live out the purpose of what he created us for today, because one day we won't wake up, and that's just life. And I really love that about you. I think I've really going to your house for the marriage mastermind was just, I really enjoyed hearing you talk about perspective like that. I don't feel like a lot of people think of things like that. And since I was a little girl, I've always just I never knew a time where I didn't know God. I just always had this relationship with him, and I was really bullied when I was little. So one of your teachings, talking about how you would talk to your younger self and not give yourself advice, but what did you need to hear? Well, I really took that meant a lot to me because I went and I thought, what did I need to hear? And really, I just needed to hear that I mattered because I was being made fun of and treated so bad. And but from that being bullied, it allowed me to really want to help other people know that they matter in whatever way it was. And even the bullies have, something's going on with them and that's why they bully. So, just hearing your teachings, I I feel like you're just such a powerful gift. And that's why I was so excited to have you
Well,
on.
I appreciate that.
It's
I spend a lot of time focusing on who I want to become, and I spend a lot of time thinking about who I was and
yeah.
the inadequacies that I had. And the reason I'm so in love with mentoring and coaching is I wish when I was younger I would have spent the money to have a mentor. I wish I would have had someone that dove into me and all my weaknesses. It took me a lot longer to figure it out than it should have.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to that whole idea of you're just a little bit of information away from changing. And the more information you can get, even if you have to pay for it, is going to be worth it, because the person you become with that information is life altering. It's shifting. And for me, the reason, again, I'm so adamant about this is because of who I used to be and who I am today. And the personal growth that I've had has only come from my experiences. This is where you were, this is where you are, this is where you want to go. And I know, again, the fastest route there is getting new information to have that. And most of the time, that means having a mentor. I have a mentor. I mentor hundreds and hundreds of people. And it's just that new information, even the thought process that we just talked about, like the time.
Yeah.
For those people who are going to listen to this podcast, like you should think about the time that you have left. And then you should dedicate the rest of the time you have to becoming the greatest version of yourself and shifting all the inadequacies, all the weaknesses, all the failures, and getting into a better version of you. And that's just discipline. And it's true perspective breeds discipline.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, and you say it so clear. You just hit the nail on the head. And I think that if people would just spend a little bit more money on getting a mentor, getting into something like Limitless Society, getting into a group of people that want to grow and learn. And then you also you're giving yourself the opportunity to learn from others as well, which it helps to be able to resonate with people. It helps to be able to say, oh, you went through that too. How did you come out of that? Or what helped you? And that's one thing for those of you that are watching Limitless Society. It provides a community of people that really want to grow, and not just in business, but as an individual. So I can't speak highly enough about Limitless Society. I'm so excited for the big event. I can't wait to come. I don't know when the dates are, but I'm really excited.
I haven't solidified the dates. I actually just put up a post to see kind of if people would be interested. I got some really good responses and a really good return. Most likely the event will probably be September is the plan. I just haven't solidified dates yet.
Okay, perfect. Well, we are so excited to have you guys out for the haunted house. I know I keep telling you, but it's a lot of fun.
We're going to make it happen. Somehow we're going to make it happen.
I know. We will. We definitely will. And before we get going on anything else, I did want to talk about fitness, because you are in great shape. You're very transparent about your highs and your lows. And if you wouldn't mind sharing with the guests or audience that, what it is that keeps you in shape, even when you have your moments of not being in shape, what gets you back on track, kind of give some tidbits.
Yeah, I think what's really, really important to understand about fitness, when people hear fitness, they're like, I don't want to get in crazy good shape. But, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you don't take care of your health, you don't have true priority in your life. Your health is the most important. And for those of you who disagree with that, wait until you're sick and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Without your health, there's nothing else that matters. You go to somebody who's sick with an ailment, all they talk about, all they think about is that sickness. They're not thinking about anything else. Your health is the number one most important thing in the world. And if you can't put that in priority, you can't really put anything else in priority. Right. One of the things that I look at when I partner with people in my partnerships is I look at their personal fitness. If they don't take care of their health, they're not going to take care of our partnership. If they don't have priority in their health, they're not going to have priority in our partnership. We're never going to truly be able to build that which we want to build, because they're not able to put into priority the most important thing in the world, and it is your health. And I know that sounds selfish, but when you cannot deliver because you're sick, you can't do anything else. You can't make the money you want. You can't have the relationships you want. You can't build the things you want to build. You can't create what you want to create. Health is everything. And when people can identify that to shift your mind, you must shift your physiology, the better shape you become, the more your mind changes and gets better, then they'll never get there. They just won't do it. Until they realize that principle, they're never going to get to that greatest version. And I talk a lot about the greatest version of ourselves. One day we are going to stand in front of God. And I don't necessarily think he's going to judge us on all the things we did or didn't do. I think we're going to stand in front of the greatest version of ourselves, of what we could have become. And that version of ourselves is going to be in crazy good shape. They're going to be an awesome communicator. They're going to make a shit ton of money. They're going to have a beautiful marriage. They're going to be an amazing parent. They're going to be an amazing friend. They're going to have all the things that we've talked about we want. And at that day, I don't want to look down in embarrassment. I want to look that person in the eye and say, I became you. And every single person on this planet, the greatest version of them is in really, really, really good shape. So if we understand that, then we should start there. Yes. If it is the most important, then we should start there. I think that health and fitness is much, much bigger than we actually realize. People think that it's just this outward look, but it's the outward appearance of our inward thoughts.
Yes. Oh,
and the more that I realize that, I look at somebody who's fat and out of shape, and I know what their inward thoughts are. And then they're never going to get to where they want to get to until they first take priority of their health. And that's why I'm so adamant. It's why I'm such a pusher of get in shape.
Yeah.
Get in good shape. You want to have a beautiful marriage and you're a fat slob? It's not going to happen. Yeah, exactly. You want to build a multi-million-dollar company and you're a fat slob? It's not going to happen. You want to be a good parent and you're a fat slob? It's not going to happen. None of those things come to fruition until I first take priority of my health. And once I do that, everything in my life shifts and changes and it becomes what I want. Yeah. And what I want, again, is the greatest version of myself.
I love that, Keaton. Thank you so much. I truly can't thank you enough for being here today. I know he's got a crazy day. He does a call every Tuesdays. If you guys get in on Limitless Society, you'll get on that call and it's amazing. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but where can people find you? We're going to plug it at the bottom here just so people know where to find you. But if you wouldn't mind sharing with everyone.
Yeah, the best place to get in contact with me, I get back to all my Instagram messages. So Instagram is _muscle. And then for those people who are interested in the Blueprint program or in Limitless Society, they can go to limitlesssociety.com. They can get in the group and start learning the shit that we teach that makes people successful.
Yes. And I will tell you guys, I'm in that group and things are moving and shaking. And that's why I'm here in this chair. So I thank you so much, Keaton. You are such a gift to the world. Thank you for being on today. We truly appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Well, I will see you tonight for sure with my cigar.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll see you tonight on the call.